That's the pulp from 1 day's juicing in that container. So that's a whole lot of burgers. So when I hear somebody on some show talk about juicing and how they use they'll eat the pulp for supper or something like that, and it's like, really? All of it? It's a little bit unrealistic.
That's got to be more than a week's worth of burgers.
Yeah, exactly. So James is having one burger and it's not the kind of burger that'll be.
This one's a different one. This is a chicken burger.
That one's one that's supposed to be chicken, and it smells very
like chicken,
convincing.
especially when you
how's the texture? Is the texture convincingly chicken?
Yeah, reasonably so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not terribly sympathetic with people who have chicken or something that's like it. Anyway, you want me to start off the review, or do you want to do the review?
You can, or I can just mention we watched
you
the
do
first season of Prodigal Son.
Yeah.
And it's not good. There are so many things wrong with it. It's
it's
the characters aren't believable. I like the autopsy woman.
Okay.
But that's the only character that
you find believable.
Or
sympathetic or whatever.
Whatever. So anyway. What all is wrong with it? Well, one comment James made, which I think was quite accurate, was about the mother.
Wow.
James said, was she 12 when she got pregnant? Like she's too.
Yeah.
Anyway, and she doesn't look anything like the kids. Oftentimes, people in casting, they'll try to find people that look like they could actually be the child of whatever actor. It makes sense, right? But not here. They didn't bother to do that.
And the father kind of looks like the son, but the mother, he hardly figures in it, right?
And one guy at one point, he was like, "Oh, I recognized you as a child because the shaky hand thing," and that's the people who get the shaky hand. I know somebody who they ended up having a breakdown, and they were on antipsychotics, and the medication causes the shaky hand. That person did not have the shaky hand before the breakdown, and anyway, if you go off the medication, the shaky hand stops. So it's the medication. So I doubt that the kid was on antipsychotics and the guy recognized shaky hand from. So it's just ridiculous. So somebody had looked into somebody that's on antipsychotics and noticed the shaky hand, but they didn't. They made a false correlation. They thought, oh, it's due to the psychosis or something. No, it's the medication, the antipsychotics. So there's just faulty research like that in this, which makes it difficult to watch it for anybody who actually knows anything about. If anybody happens to know somebody that had a breakdown, went on antipsychotics, then they're like, oh, well, they got that wrong, right? And it's not that uncommon to know somebody who's had a breakdown and had to go on antipsychotics. So anyway, now this is I should drink this first because it's my cold cranberry juice, juiced from cranberries, which are going to be in that burger. So this is a bag of cranberries juiced. And you'll notice when you juice actual cranberries into juice, it does not taste good. It is awfully sour.
Yeah, really bitter.
So, anyway, but that'll help your hand to ache a little better. So
you were mentioning that.
Yeah, it works. And I actually got that information, I think, from Dr. Mercola.
An actual doctor? No, it's not. It's someone who wrote a book.
Yeah, he's written several books. So, and I don't agree with the diet that his diet has changed over the years, for one thing. So why not just wait until you really nail down that diet before you go writing the book on it? But anyway, it's great that he's actually willing to correct himself rather than stick with something that's obviously not working. So I'm not putting him down for that exactly. But he does have a lot of products and stuff that he's selling, and
Not good.
I mean,
It's a form of corruption, right?
yeah. So I tend to, I'll read a lot of the stuff and go, maybe there's something to that. And like apparently he's selling some sort of cranberry extract pills or something like that, if I remember correctly. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to get some cranberries and juice them and see how it goes. And so was it last winter or the winter before? I was drinking that much cranberry juice every day for a month. All of a sudden, no pain in my hand. And it had taken years, like almost a decade of not using my hand that much to get it back.
Maybe more than a decade.
But the cranberry juice, boy, did that ever do it. That really fixed things. And now I'm having a little bit of pain with my hand lately, but I've been doing a lot of, like I was writing a lot of poetry this summer.
Writing it out by hand.
And anyway, and I do the blog typing and stuff like that, right? So, and plus lately I've been peeling the vegetables and chopping them up, and it can be hard on the hands, right? So, anyway. What else was I going to say about this article? Sorry. Anyway, I don't know. Not good. It's just not a good show.
So definitely don't buy it. Don't even bother getting it out of your library.
No, it's not worth.
Don't
worth
Netflix
it.
or whatever.
I got it out of the library, but definitely. I mean, times of COVID, it's not worth the risk. Yeah. So you can go ahead and talk about proof of collusion, unless you want me to talk more, so you can finish eating that burger.
Can you hold proof of collusion?
I sure can. So James says this book he would recommend that people buy it if they can secondhand, or buy it even new. You said.
But it's required reading.
Yeah.
For righties, lefties, middle of the road.
Stick it under things so it doesn't get wrecked.
It's not a library book.
Wet.
You can see I bought it secondhand from MCC.
Yeah.
I probably got a half price, 50 cents. So this guy has been a lawyer, defense lawyer. He also has taken some book with some courses on how to writing courses.
Yeah, you were saying he was a good writer.
And it shows you. I was reading this stuff, going, yeah, I can see the legalese kind of stuff, but
well,
I
it
was
may
saying,
be too
what's his
that
background?
you were just reading the Bob Woodward stuff, and that was awful writing. I read one book and I was like, God, how could he have written so many books and been so popular, and be so popular still?
Well, he lucked out. He ran into Deep Throat.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
that was his first book with Carl Bernstein. So I kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, proof of collusion. So there's plenty of proof. Donald Trump's got to spend the rest of his life in jail once he's chucked out of office. Let us hope the Russians don't
It's not hot
do the cheating that they did in 2016. One of the things I really blame Obama for, he let the Russians just go nutsoid on the hacking.
Well, how could you stop?
He was warned about it.
Yeah.
He did talk with Zuckerberg, I think it was him, about Facebook being used. Having a little chat and actually telling Zuckerberg, you better do something, dude, or else. Two different things. So he's responsible for a lot of crazy things happening. So I can remember some idiot He was a full lefty. Saying, after Trump won the election, give me some proof that the Russians were involved. He was against Hillary Clinton as a full lefty because she was going to bring on Third World War by boxing the Russians in. Wow, this was what Dean Rusk had to say, right, in 1962. The Russians or the Chinese were crazy. They'll cause Third World War. Well, something like a world war. They were 2 years away from announcing they had a nuclear bomb, but he knew what they'd done in Korea. As soon as it looked like the Allies were going to take over all of Korea, the Chinese invaded. And it was awful. They basically took over all of Korea. And it took a lot of maneuvering by MacArthur and the Americans to get it back to the point roughly where it was at the start before the North Korean aggression. So the Democrats didn't want that in Vietnam, and they settled. They weren't talking about it, but they settled for a draw, just as long as possible. And what Russ said is we have to wait until Mao Zedong, who's crazy, to die. And they fell 1 year short of their goal. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, they did what they had to. I consider it a tie. They got their, and they withdrew. It's a retreat. When you're fighting a battle in a war, smart people retreat if they're having a little bit of trouble, as Americans did. So you get full lefty saying, the Vietnamese beat the Americans. The Vietnamese lost. Stupid full lefties. The Vietnamese lost. They got taken over by commies. And
I'm gonna put this in.
Commie cat's paws of the Russians, not so much of the Chinese. So, still going?
Yep, you're still going. You have lots of time.
Yeah,
So you can just keep talking.
Between chewing.
Yeah. Hang with me. Come on. Anyway, Trump bunny. He's got to be sent to jail for the rest of his life. Not enough time to impeach him, and there's not the will. The Republicans have knuckled under to him. And it will be better that way, so long as they decide to send him to jail. I mean, he's just obviously committed all sorts of crimes. Incitement to violence, beat up people who are heckling. Nazi kind of trick, really. Inviting the Russian hackers, like hacking is illegal. So he's inviting hackers to do something illegal, hack into Hillary Clinton's emails. And then he's inviting foreign hackers, which is like treason. I don't think, technically speaking, you can have treason in the United States unless the United States is in officially declared war. But it would be some lesser crime. There's a term for it, I can't remember it exactly. But all the stuff, I don't really, it probably wouldn't make much difference if this stuff ran concurrently or consecutively, but it should be consecutive. He should be in jail a sentence for 100 years or whatever, and he should be prosecuted on each individual crime. So the Russians can't spend a lot of money to bail him out or anything like that. all the members of his family who are guilty, aside from Barron or whatever his, what would it be, maybe 15-year-old son now, should be sentenced to long periods of jail time. So that'd be Ivanka, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump. Not sure about Melania. I mean, I suspect she suffers from abused wife syndrome, so I don't think she should be punished for the crimes of her awful husband. But there's got to be an example set. So, you know, Trump, I'm afraid, does a lot of this stuff, you know, to help out he's sort of a family guy. You know, even though it looks as though he's had pregnancies by other women that he's given the money to abort the pregnancy and stuff like that. He's a shameful kind of person. And this book lays out the details. Yeah, I was mentioning this faux lefty saying Hillary Clinton would bring on World War III or IV or whatever. You know, she did a certain job for Obama when she was Secretary of State for Obama. Nothing that says that she's going to do that if she becomes elected, you know, like be as, probably would be as vigorous with Russia. The thing is, you get Julian Assange, whatever his name is, he's Australian, so it's probably Julian Assange, but saying, I gather he's a libertarian, but I've read on the internet, got to be careful about it, that he's a right-wing libertarian, you know, believes in capitalism and all that sort of stuff. I don't care what he believes in. He's saying things like, you know, Russia has a right to Kaliningrad and to you know, they've got a naval base there, and that's in the Baltic, and their naval base in Crimea, and their naval base in Syria. What right have they? And it's two, apparently. Okay, Julian, if you're watching, wherever you're at, you sleaze bucket. They don't have any right to have a naval base in Syria, but he seems to think so. Do they have a right to have a naval base in the Crimean Peninsula? Well, that's not part of Russia. It's part of the Ukraine. Now, the Ukraine means border country to Russia. And, you know, the Russians think it's our border, you know, and it should be within our borders. And they call them little Russians. I don't know what the Ukrainians think about that, but I'd puke if I were a Ukrainian and some Russian mentioned that, or at least get a little bit nauseated.
I haven't run across a Ukrainian that said, oh yeah, we're Russians.
We're little Russians!
No,
you know, Pauline's actually a quarter Ukrainian. Can I mention that? Yeah, there we go.
Am I a quarter?
It would be something like that. Mm-hmm.
I guess I would be.
Well, quarter Ukrainian, half French, pretty well, and then maybe
1/8
British.
English.
Yeah, 1/8 English, 1/8 Celtic or something like that, Scottish. Right? Some Irish too.
Some Irish.
Yeah, so
maybe
British. The way to put it is 1/4.
But I don't know. I haven't gotten my genetic testing done. I really don't care.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I mean, if somebody wants to pay for my testing to be done for some reason, then I guess that's fine, because I don't have any children. I mean, I wouldn't have got it done definitely forever if I'd had children, because I mean, you never know what is in your gene pool and who will be taking offense to it, really.
Yeah.
And that's not for you necessarily in your lifetime. It could be in your children's lifetime or in their children's lifetime. The information could somehow be held by somebody, and they might not like what they read or whatever.
Oh, they might like it, and they might kill.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the real name of Kaliningrad? It's named after Grad means city in Russian. What language do you think Königsberg is?
German?
German! Yeah. That was just, that was an ethnic cleanse about 10 years before I was born. I'm an old guy, but not that old. Well into my dad's lifetime. German. I don't hear full lefty say, "Hey, Russians, get out of Germany. It's a German land." Millions of Germans were ethnically cleansed from what's now considered Poland. Millions. Millions upon millions. I don't hear full lefty saying, "We got to settle this problem before we get down to settling the problem in Palestine." 750,000 who ethnically cleansed themselves, according to an Egyptian general. We told them to get out.
I don't know. I think that, like you were talking about Trump earlier, and I think that Trump is going to be elected again. But if he is not,
Well, he won't get
and
elected. He might
you're-
get some huge cheating. The Republicans
Sure.
have been amazing at the cheating. 2004 stole the elections in Florida and Ohio, respectively. Stole the election in 2016. They'll be trying their darndest to steal 2020. They've tried and tried and tried. They'll try any sort of thing, giving money to Bernie Sanders. The Russians were giving money to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, incidentally, should be sent to jail. He should be investigated
But yeah,
for
I
complicity
do hear
with
what you're
Russians.
saying, that if Trump for some reason isn't elected president, yeah, then some people really need to get to work and imprison him so that he cannot become president again in the future.
It's been done before. Grover Cleveland, a scumbag Democrat, back in the days when Democrats were kind of like, this is after slavery, about a generation after, but it was gotten rid of. But it was still very, very right-wing.